We've looked at Final Fantasy VI and ranked it. Link up here at the top if you missed it. But I want to talk more about its incredible cast of characters, so here is a tier list. When I was planning this, it was top heavy with so many S ranks, I've had to split S tier into 2 with an S plus tier. The characters are just that good with 6. Ranking these guys primarily on their stories and character arcs, maybe some bonus points for any cool abilities and all that. Cyan the Samurai. Cyan is maybe the character I feel the most empathetic towards. Cyan's story is tragic. We watch Kefka kill his kingdom and family, and we see Cyan torture himself with guilt and grief. At first, he's hesitant to work alongside characters like Celes, who belong to the empire that murdered his family. Understandable, but we see him grow and eventually work alongside them. Gotta admit, heart-wrenching moment when we see Cyan's family board the Phantom train to the afterlife. And also later in the game we get to enter his dreams and see what's been haunting him. Cyan grows and forgives himself, and in the world of Ruin we even catch Cyan dedicating himself to helping someone else who's lost their family. S tier. Next up, Terra. Terra starts out as a really robotic, emotionless character because she spent her entire life enslaved by the Empire, and after removing her slave crown, it takes a while for her emotions to appear. I really like Terra's journey. It's one of self-discovery. She's an outsider that tries to connect with others and learn to love. On top of that, we find out that she's a girl between worlds. Half Esper and half human, making that journey of self-discovery and fitting in a pretty challenging one. Gotta admit, her ability to transform into an Esper makes her one of the coolest characters across all of Final Fantasy. Even though I've played it many times before, it's kinda stressful during the ending with Espers being removed from existence, and we're not sure if Terra's gonna die or not, but it's because of Terra's growth that she found love with a human side, and that's why she survives. Come on, if anyone's gonna be S plus rank, you know it's gotta be Terra. Quickie, trying to grow the channel, cover RPGs, and I'm also running this series where I go through each Final Fantasy every month, then rank them as I go. If you consider subbing or liking the video, it's an amazing help. Thank you. Okay, Mog the Moogle. We do get a little sneak peek of Mog early on when all the Moogles come to defend Terra. That is a pretty epic moment. After that, he's a completely optional character. You can recruit him in both the World of Balance and Ruin. And because he's optional, there's not a ton of story around Mog. I do like that we get a Moogle party member for the first time in Final Fantasy history, and I'm gonna give Mog a B rank. Sabin the Monk, and the twin brother of Edgar. You've probably already seen all the memes. Sabin is so awesome, he can suplex a train. So when Sabin's father, the king of Fiago, dies, Sabin chooses freedom over inheriting the crown, and he learns martial arts under Duncan. I like Sabin, he's usually one of my core fighters with his blitz techniques that require you to input pseudo fighting game combos. And through his journey we find his old master Duncan in the world of Ruin, and we get to finish Sabin's training and learn his final move. He's a bit hard-headed, but loyal and a dedicated team member who loves his brother. There's a moment I like where Sabin compliments Edgar behind his back and he doesn't want Edgar to hear him. It was between S rank and A. I'm gonna give him an A rank. This ties in with the next character, Edgar the Machinist, and twin brother of Sabin. Another really strong character I usually have in my main team. I love his pretty awesome selection of tools. I want to get into the reason I really like Edgar, even more so than his brother Sabin. So yeah, when their father, the king of Fiago, dies, one of the twin brothers must pick up the duty and mantle of king. Neither Edgar nor Sabin wanted the crown, so they leave it up to a coin toss. But here's the thing, Edgar rigged the toss with his double-sided coin. Edgar took on the burden of king so that his brother could be free, and Edgar eventually grows into his role and becomes a great king. Throughout the journey, Edgar is shown to be a selfless character who goes out of his way to help Terra and the Resistance. He's a well-rounded and approachable character. I'm giving Edgar an S rank. Gogo the Mimic. Now, Gogo is a very unique bonus character that can only mimic the actions of others, which can have some pretty strategic uses in combat. Another bonus unlockable character, but much later on in the World of Ruin. Next to no story with Gogo, but I do really like how you recruit this secret character. On Triangle Island, you got to get eaten by the giant worm monsters here, Zone Eaters. It's almost another dimension inside the Zone Eaters. It's a small dungeon where you'll find the mysterious Gogo at the end. You know, I'll give him C. I appreciate him. He's more of a bonus character. His mimic ability can be really useful, but I'm holding more weight on storytelling and character arcs. Shadow the Assassin. Extra points for his dog, Interceptor, that will help you out in combat and block attacks. Shadow is a cold-hearted, edgy badass, but throughout the story he jumps in and out of the party to do his own thing. It's a little frustrating when I just want to play as Shadow. You get a little insight into this guy when Terra asks for advice and Shadow says, "Some people choose to kill their emotions," hinting at himself. Shadow often comes to the rescue of others on a mission to redeem himself for his past, and if you put all the pieces together, Relm is secretly his daughter, and he leaves her behind for his mercenary lifestyle and feeling unfit to be a father. On the floating continent, Shadow stays behind to hold off Kefka, and while you're escaping, if you don't wait the final 5 seconds of the countdown and wait for Shadow, Shadow is left behind and he dies. That's what happened to me first time playing Final Fantasy VI, but since then I always make sure to wait for him. At the end of the game, I found Shadow's epilogue to be the most heart-wrenching, where he believes he's finally redeemed himself after helping his daughter and the party defeat Kefka. Shadow stays behind in the crumbling tower to finally die, but Interceptor is trying to stop him. For this alone, it was between S and S+ for me. I'm gonna give him S rank. Shadow's journey is one of self-redemption. And it's a good point to talk about Relm, the Pictomancer. So yeah, gotta feel a bit bad for Relm being Shadow's abandoned daughter, but at least she is under the care of Strago. Relm's got a very unique ability, Sketch, that allows her to create illusions of things in battle. There's a pretty cool moment where she reveals her sketch ability against Ultros, and also when she threatens to paint Sabin's picture, and everyone's panics. I like that Shadow's dog Interceptor recognizes Shadow's daughter and is fiercely protective of her. I'm gonna give Relm a B rank. Which leads into Strago the Blue Mage. I do really like Blue Mages in Final Fantasy. You can learn spells after experiencing them from enemies, which makes it pretty fun exploring and discovering which monsters have what abilities to learn. Strago is taking care of Relm, and you can see how much Strago loves Relm when he breaks the village's rules to use magic to save Relm, and in the World of Ruin he snaps back to reality very quickly after seeing Relm. There's not a huge amount to say about Strago. He has a little questline where you can hunt a legendary beast, and Strago shows off. I'm gonna give Strago a B. Celes the Rune Knight. Celes might be my favourite character in 6. So she starts out as a general of the Empire who's been experimented on and infused with Esper magic. Having a change of heart, she's imprisoned by the Empire till Locke saves her. She joins our party riddled with guilt and self-doubt, and not everyone trusts Celes because of her past with the Empire. Celes steps up when she takes part in the opera to get Setzer's attention. The opera is one of the most iconic scenes in Final Fantasy VI. and I love how Ultros crashes the party, but the reason I really like Celes is her little arc on Solitary Island after the world has been destroyed. In one of the darkest moments in Final Fantasy, Celes gives in to despair and throws herself off the cliffs. Celes wakes up washed ashore next to a seagull wearing Locke's bandana. Hope that life still exists beyond the island. To me, Celes becomes the symbol of hope and reunites everyone across the world of ruin. S tier plus for me. Locke the Adventurer. At first, Locke comes across as though he's trying to hit on all the girls, but you eventually learn that Locke is actually suffering from trauma and he's overprotective of others because in the past he let Rachel die. And him and Celes have a bit of a thing, but when Celes is dealing with her own problems, Celes shuts him out and we catch Locke drinking himself silly. I feel bad for Locke. In the world of ruin, we find Locke in the Phoenix Caverns, hopeful for a way to resurrect Rachel with the Phoenix Esper. You've got to cheer on Locke, but as you know, turns out Rachel is only resurrected temporarily. At the end of Locke's arc, he hears Rachel's dying wish for him to find happiness and let go of his guilt that has him so protective of others. So yeah, Locke gets permission to date Celes. I like Locke and his journey. It was between A and S tier. Gonna go S tier. Umaro the Yeti. Much like Gogo, not a lot to say about Umaro. He's a secret bonus character much later on in the game. He's a giant Yeti you can recruit with Mog's help. You can't equip him with anything but relics and you can't control him. He's in a constant state of berserk, but he's a hard hitter and useful, especially when you want to climb the Fanatic's Tower, where only magic can be used normally. But because of how Yeti works, he'll still do his physical attacks. C tier. Setzer the Gambler. Our airship pilot, at first he seems a bit sleazy as he drops into the opera to steal a star as his wife. But turns out he's a loyal party member that lives on the edge. When the world is destroyed, Setzer's airship is caught in the devastation. And we learn there's more to Setzer than you'd think. Setzer has to overcome his past and travel to the tomb of his deceased friend, where we learn about his past with Daryl. I'm gonna place Setzer in A rank. Gao, the feral youth. I'm not a huge fan of Gao. We come across him on the plains of Veld. We learn Gao was abandoned on these plains by his father. Gao learned to fend for himself and survive in the wilderness, but it also means he hasn't learned social skills and speaks in broken sentences. I do feel bad for Gao. If you return to the old age man in the world of ruin with Gao and Sabin, you get a little scene where everyone helps suit up Gao to meet his father. And his father reveals it all. He went crazy after his wife died and just abandoned his child. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Gao. I don't like how you have to let him loose on the plains to learn new rage abilities. I'm gonna give him a C tier. Alright, that's all 14 of the main characters ranked in Final Fantasy VI. Let me know who your favourite characters are in the comments, and peace for now.